Hi, I'm CJ and this is my RC channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some of my early 3D prints, some of the things I started with. Some of them, many of them, are little improvements for the Ender 3 Pro and the Ender 3. There's a few things for the house, there's some RC stuff, and there's a couple little knickknacks I just printed for kicks. One of them just a little gift for my wife. And varying complexity. I'm going to talk about supports and my first experience with them, etc. Here are a few of the 3D prints I've done along the way. This was actually one of the first ones I did. It's very complex. My wife is a pet lover. We've had cats and we currently have 2 dogs. All of our cats were elderly and they all passed away during the early years that we were married. So I found this little figurine and printed it out for her. It's if you can't see it clearly, it's a cat curled up inside some angel's wings. And I actually printed this with no supports, just standard white PLA on the Ender 3. It was like the second or third thing I tried printing. This is just a little figurine. It's one of the, I think it's Makers something or other. It comes from a website of a company that makes a lot of 3D products. I had some small filament samples and I wanted to try this this gloss black filament. So I went ahead and printed the rest after I did the face shield. Get that later. This is one of the 3D items I printed to basically protect the filament. It goes right here and it keeps the filament from rubbing up against the grub screw or the jack screw. But since I'm using the direct drive now, I don't need that part any longer. This is the first thing I did with the direct drive, was print this little benchy with PLA Plus, and it came out quite nicely. I was testing some wood filament for some feet that I was making to turn basically the one wall of a large dog enclosure to make a freestanding dog gate to block the hallway when we want to have the dogs with us in the evening and we're cooking in the kitchen and we don't want them to escape back upstairs. This is a repeat of this print. This is done with regular PLA and this is done with PTEG, and it's kind of a transparent glossy purple filament, but I've already done a ton of cleanup on it and it's still really rough. PTEG definitely takes some getting used to. It requires higher temperature. It's tougher to get it to stick to the build plate. There's a variety of issues that go with PTEG. So for the time being, I'm probably going to focus on PLA and specifically PLA Plus, which is a good bit stronger. That's looking like a really good all-around filament now. Hopefully, the reason I went with the PTEG and attempted this was for heat reasons, but hopefully that's not going to be an issue, so I'm probably just going to run the red PLA one. And right now I'm printing the piece that would go in the center that holds the fan that cools the top of the hot end. Of course I've done the wing racks. I did the first fuse racks, which had a few issues. They're basically not far enough out from the wall. So I've done a redo on those. I did a complete redesign of those in FreeCAD. I'll be putting those up online in a little bit. I've done a few prototype tests just to test the joining mechanism. I'm using an I-beam type construction, which makes for a very rigid, strong piece, but uses a minimum amount of filament, and I've come up with some specific settings for Cura or for your slicer that are going to make it as solid as possible and as strong as possible. And it's going to come with several different length options. So there's basically, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pieces that you can print. 2 of them attached directly to the wall, and those are in a 200 and 125 millimeter lengths. And there's a left side and a right side, so one where the front of the fuselage faces left and the other where the front of the fuselage faces right. So you can have 2 fuselages side by side. And then depending on how big your tail feathers are, I've got 2 sections that can be placed in between those wall mount sections and the parts that hold the fuselage. Those are, I believe, 75 and 125 millimeters respectively. So you've got a variety of combinations. So if you've got some really big tail feathers, you can put together the long piece that comes off the wall, the long extension, and then the fuselage sections, the left and the right, and you should be set up. So I think I've got all the issues worked out with those. They screw together, and I would recommend glue as well, just to be sure. But they kind of have a snap fitting, and well, you'll see when I release those. In any event, that covers these items, and you've seen these items. This actually comes off now. I don't need this anymore, so that'll be set aside. I highly recommend using grub screws when you print this item. If you print that and you print one of the knobs there, those anchor them in place. I think that pretty much covers it. I'm going to be going over this guy right here in a separate video, and I'm going to make the plans available for this. I designed this piece right here. This is already out on Thingiverse, and what this does is it holds a bucks converter to step down the 24 volt to 12 volts, and that keeps this fan from burning out. It also lets it run nice and quiet, since it's running at the correct voltage and not overspinning. This is a very nice drawer set. It anchors to the aluminum profile on both sides instead of just on one side, so it's very stable. It doesn't try to slide out. I really like it. Even if I wanted different compartments, I would either design my own drawer or find another, another model that had the same size drawers, but with a different layout as far as the dividers. Because this case is very nice, and it's got holes in the bottom and mid section, so there's a minimum amount of filament used. The first items I ran off the Ender 3 Pro were the Pro threaded filament arm, one piece. That's the name on Thingiverse for the item. Links will be below to all of the items that I printed off Thingiverse to improve the Ender 3's performance and reliability. The next item I printed was the Ender 3 Pro anti-snag end cap. Very simple, yet very handy item. The next items I printed were the 2 knobs, the Ender 3 Pro CR10 extruder knob, which I added a grub screw to. The second knob that I printed was the Ender 3 Pro threaded Z axis knob. That I also added a grub screw to. I also printed the Ender 3 Pro Z stepper spacer. I don't have a photo of that. That is about a millimeter thick spacer that fits in between the motor mount and the vertical aluminum profile bar on the left-hand side. The next thing I printed, or things that I printed, were a handful of different types of clips to hold wires in place and to hold filament onto filament wheels when it's in storage, so it doesn't unravel. I've got a little video clip here where you can see that I'm printing a whole bunch of them at one time. One thing I quickly learned about Cura is that instead of doing a normal file open process, that you can just drag and drop your STL files from a Windows Explorer window onto the Cura interface, and it will put them into the work area for you. You can also do multiple STL files into the same Cura project. So you can print multiple items at the same time. You can also do a copy and paste within Cura. So if you pull out a clip that you like, you can copy and then paste multiple versions of that into the Cura workspace, arrange them as you like, and then you can print all of them at one time instead of having to go back and do the same, 5, 10, 15-minute print again and again and again. You can just lay a bunch of them out, walk away from the machine, come back, and have all of your small items done. This also works for larger items as well. And there are times when I do that if I'm going to be going out, or if I'm going to be heading off to bed for the night. I might drop a couple items together that bring the print time up, so it's going to run all night, and then I can get up in the morning, have a bunch of stuff waiting for me on the printer. So those were the Ender 3 Pro wire clips and the Creality Ender 3, Ender 3 Pro power cable clips. I really liked the power cable clips. The first one that I mentioned, and you'll see this if you go down and open those links, has clips for the 2 power wires, but I just liked this clip better, the way it was designed. Then I did the LCD cover. Links for all of these things are in the description below. Those are just my recommendations. There's many versions of all of these items. They all are good. They all have pluses and minuses. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. And if you're a subscriber and you haven't, click the little bell icon. You get a notification anytime you're in YouTube. And if I put up a new video, you'll get a reminder or a little pop-up that lets you know that there's a new video out there. And it's a good way to follow my channel and be notified every time I put out a new video. I've been trying to put them out every 5 or 6 days. That's going to step up dramatically. I'll probably be doing 2 or 3 a week as I head in towards spring and the tail end of winter, because I've got so many projects going. I'm going to have to be putting out a lot of videos for you guys. And I hope all of you understand and respect the amount of time and effort that takes. I'm not a shop here, or even an established channel where I've got a couple employees. I'm one guy. I do it all. I film everything. I build everything. I have to cut and edit all of these videos. That takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. Not only that, I have to know all of these different software applications to do all of these different tasks and wear these different hats. So, if you like the videos, please take the time to sign into YouTube so you can subscribe, so you can add comments, so you can be a participant. And that is a very big help to me, because if this channel is ever going to grow to the point where I can earn a little money off advertising, I need your support to help me build that community. And to all those of you who have subscribed and comment, I really appreciate it. You guys have been great, and I hope you guys continue to follow my channel. Thank you for watching.